Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So I am here today with the differences between the earth signs. So I have made a video talking about the differences between the air signs, the water signs and the fire signs. So I'm going to provide a link to those videos in the description box if you want to check those out. But today we're looking at the earth signs. So who are the earth signs? We've got Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. So right off the bat starts off with Taurus. Taurus is fixed earth, and fixed energy is about sustainment. It's about running things through until completion. So to be able to sort of hold that particular element within its place. And with that fixed earth then, so earth being the particular element here, well, it could suggest that Taurus types are the types of people who are grounded. So when it comes to the physical world, not just in the materials and resources that they accumulate, yes, that comes into play, which we will get into, but also within their bodies. Because the thing about earth energy is that it's a very bodily energy, because our bodies are physical and earth is all about physicality. So what you find with a lot of Taurus types is that they may like to take part in certain things that are associated with them moving their bodies, so getting into their body, whether that be through dance, whether that be through hiking and walking outside in nature, whether that be through certain indulging pleasures, so looking at sex, looking at cuddles, looking at sensual sort of things with another person or just for themselves. So yeah, the body comes into play for the Taurus, and they may look at just feeling good in their body, feeling pleasure through the body as things that they enjoy and that they find interest in. But going back to the resources and the materials and things like that, well, now, the thing about Taurus types is that you, of course, it can go a range of different ways. So you can get the types of Taurus people who can be quite greedy. They may be hoarders. They may feel like they don't have enough and they're constantly trying to grab for more and more and more things, and they're sort of using the material world in that more fearful based way, or in a way where they must store up everything because they need those things. They need to make sure that they're secure within their physical security. But then you can also get the types of Taurus people who are just more, I'd say they're a lot more bohemian almost, because I find with Taurus types who are more into nature and growing their own food and gardening, things like that, they may not be as fussed on accumulating all these material goods and items as other Taurus types, okay? So they may be more based upon just, environmental things. They may enjoy the thought of helping the environment in some way. So sustaining earth, right? So looking at the environment and thinking about, well, how can I contribute to the environment, to the planet, to help the planet, to keep the planet alive, and blooming. So you can get those types of Taurus people who really care about that stuff and who may just look at the physical world as something to really take care of, really attend to the physical world in the best way that they can. So yeah, you can find with certain Taurus types that they may be really interested in massage and different therapies, different aromas, different oils. They may love to grow their own vegetables, certain plants that they may keep as well. They may be the types of people who enjoy going to the beach or just going out into the wilderness, doing some camping. Yeah, you can get certain Taurus people who just love to feel close to nature, right? Really, really close to nature. But then also, of course, there's the other Taurus types who are highly materialistic in the things that they do accumulate. So, for example, when it comes to shopping and spending, so money, right? So Taurus rules over the house of money. And so you can find with certain Taurus people, they may have a certain brand that they love, you know, and they will routinely go to that brand. Like, that's the brand, I love that brand. And if they have the money and the finances to buy those items that they're really interested in, then they will do so. It of course depends on how much money they have, and I think that is the thing with Taurus energy. It's sort of like that whole thing of, well, if someone was to give you $1 million, what would you spend it on? Would that change your perspective? Would that change you? Because we could say that point blank, you know, if someone was to give me $1 million, I would never change myself. I would never go and buy this and that and do this and that. But really, money can do strange things to people, right? Really, you hear so many stories of people who get so much financial success, and then all of a sudden they're doing things that they never thought they would have done. You know, it's just that whole thing of, well, you don't really know until you're actually in that situation. So maybe that could be saying something here with Taurus energy, you know, what would happen if a Taurus person was to accumulate, you know, millions, right? But still trying to stick on this point with the certain amount of money that they accumulate. Well, if they do have the means and measures to buy certain material items, then that Taurus person just might do that. They just might have this thing in their mind of like, well, what's the most expensive thing, or what's the most best quality, you know, what holds the most substance, what's the thing that is the most beautiful, what's the thing that is the most almost luxurious in a way. Because you kind of find that with Leo and Taurus can kind of share that together a little bit in terms of how they may spend money on things that they enjoy and find pleasure in and indulge in, right? But still, kind of sticking with this point on finances, yes, Taurus types, you can find that they may be really interested in the material world and accumulating certain material items for themselves because they just love it. They just find pleasure in it. They want to indulge in the material world. So you can find with Taurus, certain Taurus people, that they may enjoy fashion, okay? They may enjoy beauty. And you can even find that when it comes to just how they attend to their bodies, it's done with such care. It's done with such, just, it's done in a way where they're very conscious of, well, this product right here is being used for this, and this to help me with this, and this. And it's gonna make me feel good. I'm gonna feel revitalized and refreshed from this, you know? So just enjoying simple things like a bath, or enjoying simple things like getting a good night's sleep, or having a really hearty breakfast in the morning, or going out and just going for a nice walk in the fresh air and letting the wind just blow in their hair. Yeah. So whatever the Taurus decides to spend their money on is really dependent on that Taurus and how much money they have and what they enjoy, what their likes are, what their dislikes are. So all those very Phoenician things, which of course Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So let's actually talk about as well Taurus types and their routine. So you'll find with them that whenever they get into a certain routine or regimen, that is that routine that can be hard to break because it's what's comfortable to them. You find that comfort is something that makes them feel safe, and routine is something that makes them feel safe. So with that in mind, if there is a certain experience that goes out of balance, I suppose, with their routine, or disrupts their harmony, disrupts their comfort levels. Taurus types may get a little bit frustrated. It can take some time for them to sort of build up to actually letting out, especially if they've got Mars and Taurus, but letting out their anger. But once their anger is there, it can be really hard to sort of tame them or quiet them or get them to think more just rationally about things, especially if you take something from a Taurus. I feel like Taurus types, depending on the situation, depending on what it is, if you steal something from them, if you take something from them and you don't let on, or if you break something of theirs that was really valuable to them, they may get really raged or really angry. Again, it really depends, because yes, you can get Taurus types who are just more bohemian and more just sort of going with it and trying not to sort of focus so much on material items. You also get those Taurus types who can, you know what, even if they are that way, the other way, like I said, it just depends, okay? Just keep that in mind. It really depends, because everybody has their, I guess, things that if taken away, they can become frustrated. We all have our certain things that we deem as valuable. So for a Taurus, if something is valuable to them and you mess it up, you take it, they may get angry. Okay? Yeah. Kind of reminds me whenever I was younger and I was living in my family home. So my sister, my older sister, is a Taurus. We shared a room together for many years growing up. And yes, I'm going to put my hand up and admit it, that I would take her clothing sometimes, many times. I would also take some of her makeup and put it on my face. She used to get quite mad if I did not ask. I even one time, couple times, would wear a shirt from her, and I would, after wearing it, just kind of make sure it wasn't too dirty, and then I would fold it up and put it back. I know, but hey, I was young, foolish, didn't know any better. We got into a few arguments over stuff like that, and yeah, Taurus types, even in general, can just be quite territorial, you know, and it's important just for them to feel secure. And if that security is threatened in any way, yeah, it can make them really agitated and frustrated. So another thing I actually want to mention here actually is I remember my sister used to iron my hair. So before straighteners were a thing, we would use the physical iron, and she would just say to me, Hannah, just lay down, put your hair out like on the towel, and she would just iron it. Yeah, that's the thing too. She would often give me beauty tips or do my hair or do my makeup. She did my makeup for my formal. So formal is another word for my prom, you know, in the UK, Northern Ireland. Yeah, for the formal. And like I said, she did my makeup for it, and she also, actually no, she didn't do my hair for it, but she would give me sort of advice, beauty tips, things like that. And you do find with Taurus types that beauty and just looking good can be something that they may hold to a high degree, you know, even if it's not necessarily based around makeup, but just beauty in them feeling good about themselves, beauty in how they speak, beauty in how they communicate, beauty in how they sing, you know. A lot of Taurus types can enjoy singing and instruments and just being really attuned with music and enjoying the pleasures that come with listening to their favorite music. So one more thing to kind of touch on with Taurus, of course, is difficulty with them changing their mind, grudges. It can be hard for them to let go. So also bringing in material items, it can be hard for them to let go of certain material items that they have. So you can find that if, for example, you've slighted them in some way, you've made them angry in some way, they'll get on well and stuff with you after if all the apologies are done and said, but they're still not going to forget that happened, and so they're going to be a bit more cautious. You find with earth signs in general, they're a bit more cautious by nature. Okay, so let's move on to Virgo. Right, so Virgo is mutable earth, so meaning that it's flexible, adaptable, and changeable. So what that can suggest then with this combination is a person who really pays attention to time management and structures. They pay attention to their routines, they pay attention to their schedule, they pay attention to their organizational skills. So also, of course, they pay attention to that to-do list, checking off their to-do lists, because that comes under that umbrella, of course. So changeability with time, changeability with how they organize themselves, how they manage themselves. Now, I'm just gonna sort of explain this in a certain example. So let's say, for example, that a Virgo person has a certain job that they do. They may plan out, schedule the day off, well, this is the job, right? This is the job that they're in. These are the things that they have to do within that job. And they can be very conscious of how much time for this thing, how much time for this part, how much time for this part. Then if things overlap, which it can, okay? Things can overlap because they may not get all this thing done within that time frame, so it can overlap with the next thing and the next thing. So you can find with Virgo types that they can juggle all those different things going on. And they can be very good, multitaskers. Of course, they're Mercury ruled, just like Gemini. Gemini also very good at multitasking, but yeah, Virgo also. But the way Virgo does it is that they do it in a much more practical way. So they like to put their skills and they like to put their capabilities to good practical use, whereby which what they do can help benefit someone or something in some way, where there's a reason, like there's a purpose, there's a usefulness, there's a certain strategy to it that they see that, oh, if I do this, then it can result in this, or if I do that, it can result in that, and it can help this person, or it can benefit this thing, or it can be connected with this other thing. So for example, a Virgo could be that type of person who is a switchboard person. So they're in this huge organization and they're sort of doing their small role, okay? So this role you may look at as quite a small role, and of course Virgo pays attention to smaller details, keeping that in mind. So they're in this role and they are directing all of these different calls to different people. So they're directing calls to the human resources, directing calls to the sales management team. They're directing calls to the finance team. All these different departments that they're shifting calls to. And if you think about it, if not for that center point or that role, if that did not exist, you kind of think to yourself, then what would happen to that certain organization? It would just be chaos. They begin calls from here, there, and everywhere. People from the human resources team are being called about finances, and it's like, oh no, I gotta direct you over there. Or the sales team's getting financial calls, and then the sales team's like, oh no, I gotta direct you over there. So it's wasting a lot of time. It's wasting time. Whereas if you just have this one person who's going shooting them all off, then that saves time. Time management, organization. It's a small duty, a small role, but whereby which Virgo may not get a lot of money in comparison to a manager, but it's still just as important to that overall organization. So looking at that smaller role in association with the greater whole and how important that role is. So going to the point here is, yeah, mutable earth can be associated with managing your time more effectively. Can be associated with making sure that you are organized and things are lined up in a certain way whereby which things run smoothly. So Virgo types have this excellent ability of being able to create order out of chaos. They're very good at it. It's their specialty. However, this is a big however. Whilst Virgo may be very good at that, when it comes to the self, when it comes to, because of course this the sixth sign, this is still about the self-development. When it comes to Virgo and managing themselves, things get a little bit complex, okay? Things get a little bit chaotic, because the thing about Virgo types, okay, this is not for all Virgos. It can, maybe if you're a Virgo, you've experienced this throughout your life, maybe you've worked on this, but it can be hard for a Virgo to see the value in their small, mundane, minor position. It can be hard for them. So for them to be validated, or for them to be told, like, Virgo, you're doing a great job. Look at this. Look at all you're helping with, Look at how your role is contributing to everything else. That can be very important, because often Virgos may not see that within themselves. They can just be very self-conscious of, oh my gosh, am I doing a good job? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it correctly? Seriously, when it comes to doing things correctly, the Virgo wants to do it correctly. You just got to show them how, So going to a Virgo and giving them the step-by-step plan of, you got to do this, 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 this. This is how you do it. Virgo's like, right, got it. Does it, boom. But if you go to a Virgo and you say, well, we got to do this, but nah, not really sure about that. You can maybe see how you can play around with that. And then Virgo's just like, I just want to know how to do it right. Just show me how to do it right. That's the thing. Is that they can be so, they can place so much of their own sort of value or worth on doing it right, doing it correctly, that they then can doubt in their own capabilities, or they may overlook something that actually, yeah, maybe look at that as wrong or incorrect, but who says, really? If it results in the job being done, or, if it results in something else, who knows? Who knows from doing something incorrectly what that could then bring, what that could result in. It could result in a huge financial gain. It can result in profit. It can result in something way bigger than what the Virgo might have expected. And that's the thing. It's the Virgo's, trying to learn maybe how to appreciate even when they do things incorrectly, right? Incorrectly. And also learning from their mistakes, or from their errors, or from their flaws. We all have flaws. We're not perfect. And Virgo can kind of have this perception that it needs to be flawless, polished, everything. And it can. But when they fixate on that one thing that is out of line with what they thought was that polished thing, they can just spiral down, and then they can start to criticize themselves. Okay, and there's a lot of critical behavior that can come with this, where even if, for example, the Virgo holds themselves to a high regard, there's a certain level, right? These are my expectations. I'm a Virgo. These are my expectations. But then as they turn towards other people and they notice that, oh my gosh, Jeremy put the knife in upside down in the dishwasher. Oh my gosh, Jessica put that glass in and it still had a lipstick stain on it. How could she not have seen that? I would have seen that. I noticed these things, okay? Then the Virgo gets all upset. Maybe goes to Jeremy. Jeremy, I just want to let you know, you put the knife in upside down and I think that's ridiculous. Jeremy's like, sorry, I literally didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't notice. Yeah, don't do it again. But if the Virgo had just been like, you know what, you know, these are the things that I do, but Jeremy's not me. And I can't hold Jeremy to that same level or degree or whatever it is. I can't hold Jeremy to that same position because Jeremy's not me. You know, that frees the Virgo up so much just from themselves. Not even about like other people, but literally it just helps them just feel more empowered, where they realize, oh well, okay, no big deal. Now, of course, that's not to say that the Virgo can still mention it if there's, you know, sloppy people that the Virgo's living with and they don't like it, then yes, of course, everybody's within the right to bring it up. But what I'm trying to say is that it's important for the Virgo not to get so caught up in that space that they themselves just get themselves into a really like critical and frustrated, annoyed place, which just impacts them in the long run, you know? So yeah, the importance, I suppose, for the Virgo to communicate how they see things, but doing so in a more, this is your way and I get that and that's beneficial and that's you, but this is my way and this is the way I've done things, and maybe we can talk about this. Maybe we can sort of see what we can improve on together here, you know? Yeah. Virgos, I think there's just something to say about them really letting off from holding themselves to such high expectations. Because I also think that from them doing that, it can also prolong them, it can prolong their own development a little bit. Because, for example, you can find with certain Virgos too that they can procrastinate because they're so fixated on it needs to be polished, it needs to be the best, it needs to be so perfect in my view that they can procrastinate. I'll get round to it. Oh, I've not managed that properly, or I've not taken the time to look at this properly. Yes, that can also be beneficial. It can. But if there's a deadline, if there's a certain time schedule that the Virgo has to go by, and they're so fixated on, oh, but it needs to be this, it needs to be that. And then the procrastination comes in and it doesn't get done. And then all of a sudden they're like trying to grab everything and they're trying to organize everything. And then that thing has probably loads of mistakes. Yeah. So Virgo types, I feel, are really beneficial to the greater whole, but they gotta see those beneficial qualities within themselves first and foremost. They gotta try and not pick at themselves, you know, when it comes to their beauty, when it comes to their appearance. They may see their, like, I have a Virgo rising and I always notice my nose. It's a little bit, it was broken when I was younger. What are you gonna do? I got teeth, you know, they overlap a little bit. You can't, they overlap. I'm like, why? Why? Well, that's because I didn't wear my braces for the the whole time, because I wanted to go to university not wearing braces. I did not want to be that person in university wearing braces. Then I go to university and there's other people wearing braces. You know? Yeah. Virgo can fixate on those little things and just think like, oh my gosh, I am hideous. I'm a hideous human being. So trying to lighten that a little bit and be more loving, I suppose you could say, towards themselves. And saying that they are more than those little things that they notice on their bodies, okay? So much more I could say about Virgo, really. There's so much more, but I've been talking about Virgo for quite a bit, for about 15 minutes now. So let's get on to the final sign. We're going to talk about Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal earth. Cardinal energy is about initiation. It's about starting things. They're go-getters. They are shakers, movers. So with that in mind, you find with Capricorn types that they like to build on things. But they build on things not quickly, okay? They build on things relatively slowly. They understand this process. They understand the importance of building gradually, because by building gradually, you will not overlook a certain step. And so by not looking over those steps, you will form a more solid, concrete foundation beneath. And by forming a more solid, concrete foundation beneath, it means that there may be an unexpected event, there may be something that just happens to shake things up a little bit, but when that event comes, when something happens, Capricorn energy is going to be a bit more prepared. Now, however, the thing about this is that yes, we can say that we prepare for things in life as much as we possibly can, but at the same time, there's no real knowing of what will be once that unexpected thing happens, you know, so how that might impact you, for example, emotionally, you know. You find with Capricorn types, especially if they've got their moon in Capricorn, when it comes to their emotions, they prefer to not let their emotions get in the way of their destiny or in the way of their long-term vision. They may not let their emotions get in the way of what they're building, okay? But still, that Capricorn person is not going to know 100% how they will respond or react if, for example, a loved one dies. If, for example, they get a divorce. If, for example, they lose everything they have. You know, you could accumulate and build on something over many years, and then it could just go bankrupt. The laws could change. Something could change, right? Now, yes, those things can come into place, but that's not to say that a Capricorn shouldn't build on it anyway, right? Because this is another thing. Capricorn types may doubt a lot of the time. Because if you can imagine, if you're building on something, whatever it is, you know, maybe you're building upon a project that you started, you're at university and you're trying to get through that university degree, and that's a long ass degree. Maybe it's 4 years, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6, maybe it's a certain career that you're in and you just started in that position and you have to work your way up, and that can take a long time. That journey, that process, whatever it is, okay, whatever it may be, even if it's a relationship, it can feel like just such a struggle. It can feel like a really long, hard road whereby which you're just never going to get there. You're never going to get there. You're never going to get from the sort of position that you started in to the CEO or to the manager, rather. We'll change that to the manager. Okay, not CEO, manager. It can just feel like this long, hard struggle to that point. And you may think, or the Capricorn type of person may think, well, when's it ever going to come? So they may doubt themselves. You know, they may doubt that, will anybody see me or recognize what I'm doing here? Does anybody recognize how much effort I'm putting into this? Even if this was a relationship scenario here, the Capricorn type of person, you know, this could apply if you've got your Venus in Capricorn. You may go through certain relationships in your life and you may have put in so much time, you know, it could have been 3 years, 4 years, 5 years with a certain person, and all of a sudden it just fell through and you're like, what was all that for then? Will I ever find anybody else? You know, those doubts come in after a long-term relationship. They can come in where you can doubt, will I find someone else again? Will I be in love again? What was all that for? But the thing about this is that the Capricorn must see the lessons that they learn from those experiences. As grueling and as hard as those lessons may be, for the Capricorn to realize, they got to be honest with themselves. They got to be realistic with themselves. They got to be practical with themselves. They got to give themselves the hard truth. Okay? So if it's a relationship, if it's a job, if it's a family, whatever the situation, it is important for a Capricorn to learn from their experiences. Capricorn, though, definitely also this inner critic, the inner critic being father figure, stern father figure. Capricorn! You must amount to something, Capricorn. You must do better. We want A's, no C's. A's, Capricorn! Now, yeah, there can be that voice that pushes the Capricorn to strive for betterment, to strive for more, you know, to accumulate more, to be more, to be recognized. And that voice can, you know, it can be beneficial. It can. But it just depends on when that voice comes out, what that voice is saying, what's it being used for. Is that voice being used in a super harsh, pessimistic way where it just literally just sees the pessimism in the world and just everything's just boring and everything is just bland and everybody else is wrong and this world is just so crap, you know? That can happen. But is that voice, you know, pushing and being more like, I know you can do this. Like, come on, I've got so much respect for you. I'm rooting for you. You got this, Capricorn. Keep going, you know? You may be doubting this journey, but you're still going. Like, try and not focus too much on that end goal and just focus on where you're at now and what you've created so far, Capricorn. Keep on going. Yes. So, yeah, Capricorns can have the tendency of being kind of pessimistic, but whenever Capricorn roots for you, whenever they're on your side, whenever a Capricorn sees potential in you, oh my gosh, they're gonna just push you up. They're gonna, you know, as they're climbing or whatever they're working on, they're gonna bring you up with them, you know? They're gonna be like, great, you come on with me. However, this is a big however, they don't like self-pity. They don't like pity parties. They don't like, hey, like, oh, this happened to me and I got 10. Okay, Capricorn will hear your story, okay? Because the thing about Capricorns is that they know a thing or two about hardships. Talk about hard lessons? Yeah. Capricorn types know a good thing about hard lessons. So if you can imagine, right, you're having a conversation with a Capricorn and you're telling them your story about something that happened to you. Maybe it was your boyfriend was abusive or broke up with you, or it was a toxic relationship. Capricorn's listening to your story, right? You're sharing it. And they're like, right, okay, I hear you. That Capricorn is going to give you the most truthful, in their eyes, truthful, respectful, realistic, practical advice about it. They're going to be straight up with you. They're going to tell you the hard truth. They're going to give you tough love. Now, they will, of course, empathize, and they will understand, you know? They understand, yeah, we all go through hardships in life. That's life. But if you go back to the Capricorn after them giving you advice, or after them giving you information about it, you go back to them and you complain about the same thing, you do it again. You do it again. You do it again. Capricorn knows their limits. Okay? Limits, restrictions, Saturn, all that. They'll get to a point where they're just like, I'm done. Like, I'm done hearing this over and over. You're just hurting yourself. You're not learning at all from this. And I'm just kind of over it. I thought, like, we've been here before. And especially if, you know, that Capricorn has dealt with their own stuff, they've had to go through that, and they may think also, how is this fair? Like, I as the Capricorn was able to do it. Yes, this other person is a different person, but how come I was? Does that mean I'm stronger? Does that mean I'm not as weak? Now, that of course can be a little bit detrimental for Capricorn types, because yes, that person is completely different to them. It's their experience in that way. But still, if you want to be realistic about it and practical about it, yeah, the Capricorn can sort of reflect on their experience and kind of look at them and think, well, something does not correlate here. Why is this keep happening for this person, and why are they not getting it? So the pity party and the sob stories and the constantly going back and not learning from your mistakes is something that the Capricorn just may be a little bit disinterested in. They will be very supportive towards you, yes, like I said, and they can be ride or die friends, ride or die supporters, if you're putting in the work, if you're committing to yourself, if you're being realistic with yourself. So, yeah, Capricorn types, they can be highly supportive people, solid people in your life. And like I said, if they see potential in you, they will build you up. You know, they can be great to go into business with. They can be honest business partners. They can also see how to make money very well. So different strategies to put in place to make money. However, this is not just about making quick money for the Capricorn. This is about seeing how they can earn money and keep earning money as a way to keep providing for themselves, because of course this is earth energy. So before I finish up this video, I just want to talk about one more thing in relation with Capricorn energy. And it's really to do with money and status. Okay, so when we look at Capricorn energy, we notice that politics and the government falls under this type of energy because of how it's these types of things that run our society. So of course there's certain rules, regulations, guidelines, laws to follow within society that we must follow suit with, and we must remain within those certain guidelines, within those restrictions, within those rules. Okay, all very Saturnian Capricorn types of things. But when it comes to Capricorn on a personal level, whatever success means to them is really dependent on the Capricorn. And if they look at something that they deem as something that will make them successful in their eyes, that they are striving for, then the Capricorn can be really good at working towards that over however amount of time it may take. They don't know how long it's going to take, they just know that they want it, and that's what they want to have. So yeah, depends on what success means to the Capricorn. But in terms of money, I personally don't see Capricorns as money driven or as money hungry. Yes, they may be power driven or power hungry, just in terms of them feeling powerful about their position, them feeling powerful about what their purpose is. Again, just depends on what their purpose might be. But with money, I feel like a Capricorn is more likely going to buy or purchase cheaper things materially if it means them getting ahead or succeeding in other areas. So this could be, for example, a Capricorn is saving for something. Maybe a Capricorn is saving for something they know is going to take a few years to save for, but they're committed to it. They're in it for the long haul. They've decided, I'm saving for that. It's going to take years. So they're going to be more prone to buying maybe cheaper things along the way. Other people may look to the Capricorn and think, you're so stingy. Like, you're so, is it frugal? Is frugal the word? You're so tight with your money. Why are you like that? Oh my gosh, it was only 20p. But they have no idea. They have no idea why the Capricorn's like that. And you could say that maybe, oh, come on, Capricorn, lighten up, live a little, live in the moment a little. But honestly, if that Capricorn is committed to that thing, they're in it. And they're within their right to do so, I suppose. Though at the same time, I still think it is nice, you know, for Capricorn to learn how to appreciate still things that they want in that moment. You know, I'm just going to use an example here for myself before I finish. And I have a Capricorn stellium, I'm Capricorn dominant, Aquarius and Capricorn are my most dominant signs, and they pretty much are pretty even. So I've got Mars and Venus in Capricorn conjunct, and my North Node as well, and Uranus and Neptune. So for me personally, I have been that type of person who would save my money for certain travel experiences. I would deliberately save my money. I've not been that type of person who's dependent on my family to provide for me. I've always been very dependent and reliable on my own resources. I know how to save, I know how to budget, I know how to manage my money. I'm very good at it. I've been told from a few friends that I'm very good at it and that they've admired that about me. However, after sort of me knowing where I want to ground myself and set up my life, and after me sort of realizing my own purpose, I suppose you could say, I have grown into appreciating purchasing things that are good quality, good value, and I know will last a long time, and that I can enjoy those things as well. You know, for example, shampoo and conditioner is a small thing, may seem like a small thing, but whereas, you know, maybe purchasing drugstore shampoo, conditioner, I've been purchasing a lot, like, conditioner and shampoo that's a lot more pricey, let's just say, than the drugstore average, because I just thought to myself, you know what, yeah, I wanna buy that. I think it would be really good in the long term for my hair, for it to just feel more revitalized and things like that. So for me, I have moved more so from that saving mentality of just constantly save, which like I said, I'm very good at it, but to more buying things that I can see that I really want, but getting those things that I know will last me longer. So I hope I was able to explain that well. Let me know if you can relate. And I think that that's all I'm going to talk about today. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Who knows if I'll do more like this. Maybe let me know if you want something similar to this. If you want something a bit different, yeah, let me know. And thank you for watching. And I'll be back with another video. Bye!